feature both sides of the lines and to be able to match up with.
Well, you're not going to get it done any other way. There's only two teams left that have had. There's only two teams that have had 5 10+ win seasons, and we're playing each other. Us and Alabama. So, and they're there the same reasons we're there, and that's you build your team from the inside out. There's an old saying, your importance to the team starts with how close you are to the ball, and you kind of go from there. The trenches, and we've been able to, really get the right kind of guys in here, over these 7 years. We've produced a bunch of great, linemen, and I think that we've got, we've recruited well. You look at the other night, here's Shaq Lawson goes out of the game, and Austin Bryant goes in, and 4th and 1, probably the biggest play of the game, and you got 2 freshmen and a sophomore that make the stop. Kendall Joseph played 3 plays in the game, but he was ready, and Dorian O'Daniel and Austin Bryant. So, I think that the development of not just having good players, but the development of those guys is critical, and that's what Alabama's been able to do, and that's what we've been able to do.
To that point, Kevin Dodd had to wait his turn. Just what he has done down the stretch in this season when his opportunity was presented.
Well, he had to wait his turn because he had to become a good player. You get what you earn. Sammy Watkins didn't have to wait his turn because he was the best player, and Kevin Dodd wasn't. He was a guy that had talent and had skill and potential. But as I tell these guys all the time, it's not about potential, it's about performance. And so you have to work. And where Kevin Dodd deserves so much credit, it's not as much being patient, it's his work ethic and his commitment to get better and to, grow up in the weight room and to, mentally learn the game of football. He played very little football, had not much of a football foundation when he came here. A lot to learn as a player, to be coachable. And again, to just willing to grind, and that's what he deserves the most credit for, and then he just got better and better and better, and then his opportunity, he became the best player, and he's had a great year for us.
There are some fans out there that look at that 2008 matchup between Clemson and Alabama as kind of the turning point for the start of this era. You were on the sideline. Do you kind of see it that way?
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I know we got smashed. I know that. We just got physically whipped. And that was a long night, long ride back to Clemson. I remember that very well.
When you look back on playing in the national championship, are there specific things you learned from that experience that have helped you get to where you are today? Absolutely.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, I think you draw from all your experiences, but when you've actually done something, it brings it even more to life for you. And we won 20-something games in a row at Alabama. And the biggest thing that I remember when we won it, you got to take it. Right now it's just like hey, throw another trophy, right next to the other one. But when we won it in '92, it had been a long time since Alabama had won a championship for Alabama standards. 1978 or 79, and this is 1992. I mean, you're talking about you've gone through now the finish the 70s and the 80s, and now you're into the 90s, and I mean it wasn't good times, and that team, not anybody thought we could win the championship that year. I think we were a 13.5-point underdog, as a matter of fact. Every time I see Gino Torretta, I remind him of that. I think we were a 13.5-point underdog, like one of the biggest underdogs ever. Some of the media people, we were a high school team going to play an NFL team, and we were 12-0. But we won the game. But what I learned from that is it's about how you play. I learned that a long time ago. It's about your team. It's not, again, it's not always the most talented team. It's the team that plays the best and cares about it. And we had such a brotherhood and such a chemistry. I mean, we really had a team that served each other. The defense, the offense, the special teams. I mean, we won games that year in all kind of ways. You know, everybody talks about we won the national championship, won 34-13 against Miami. We barely beat La Tech, like barely. David Palmer took a punt back. That's the only reason we beat La Tech. We're losing in the fourth quarter at Mississippi State and Starkville that year. First time all year we were down in the fourth quarter, and we cause a fumble on punt team. Steve Buskey causes a fumble, and Willis Bevel, whose two boys are on my team now, comes up with the fumble. We block a punt that I should have got for the touchdown, by the way. I'm still mad about that. But it bounces like perfect right into Langham's arms, and he walks in for a touch. I mean, we won a lot of different ways, and so there was a confidence with that team that we were just going to get it done. And, but the biggest thing for me was the experience of being on the mountaintop. You know, that's not what it's all about. And that's what people think life is about. You know, how much money's in your bank account, all that stuff. Your friends you have, what house you live in, and, your car you drive, how many champions. But that stuff is so fleeting. It's amazing how quick that moment goes away. It really is. The best part of that game was being in the locker room after the game and the celebration with your teammates. But what I got out of that more than anything was a perspective of, man, what a journey. And the best part of it was it was truly the journey. It was the daily grind. It was the summer workouts. It was the bus rides. It was the movie theater. It was the dorm. It was the dining hall. It was the tough practices. It was just the relationships. And, so I've always just kind of had that perspective of, let's make sure we enjoy it. And I've tried to be purposeful in that this year with this team because I knew that these guys, were on their way to a special season. And I think that they've had a great time. I don't think they're going to have any regrets. I don't think they're going to look back and say, man, dang, I wish I'd enjoyed that a little bit more because it's a rare thing. It really is. It's a hard – you got the exceptions. You got a school like Alabama. That's a rare exception. Most schools, I don't know, there's probably only about 34, 35 schools that have ever even won a national championship in the history of football. And if you take the last, since 1981, Texas has won one. Georgia's won one. Clemson's won one. It's just hard to do. How many's Michigan won since 1981? How many's Ohio State won since 19? It's a hard thing to do. You have the exception. Miami had a little run. Florida State's won about 3. Florida's won about 3. Alabama's, the enigma. It's just hard. I just hope when it's all said and done that these guys have enjoyed their journey.
You talked about the time at Alabama being the most normal up to that point in your life. What did it mean to have your mother there with you, and then what did it mean to you to be able to help her and your brothers later on?
It meant that we just did what you got to do. First of all, I loved having my mom there. It was a little different at first, but again, when you're in the middle of situations in your life, you just make the best of it. That's kind of how I've always lived my life, and that's what I try to tell people. Listen, just make the best of it. That's what the happiest people in the world do. They don't have the best of everything. They just make the best of everything, and that's to me what true peace and happiness is all about. And I think that it gave me a drive because I was driven to graduate. I was driven to create a better path for my family, for my brothers, for my dad, for my mom, and I didn't want to be a part of the problem. I wanted to be a part of the solution. And so I was driven that way, and that's why I would, put the work in. I wanted to exhaust the moment that I had from a relationship standpoint, networking, academically. I didn't want to just get my degree. I wanted to excel. I wanted to be an honor roll. I wanted to be an all-SEC academic guy. I wanted to, get my master's. I wanted to, arm myself because I was sold out that if I get my education, then my life can be better. And if my life can be better, my family's life can be better. And, you know, when you're in the midst of that, sometimes it's very hard to keep that perspective and focus on the future because you get caught up in some tough moments. But, you know, my mom was great. I mean, we slept in the same bed for 3 years. It was a special time. It really was. A little small. It saddens me that our apartment was torn down by the tornado, just smashed. But we lived in apartment 81. That was my high school number, and lived in apartment 81, lived there for 5 years. And my mom lived there with me for 3 years. My redshirt sophomore, junior, senior year. And then my first year as a GA, we got fancy. And me and my mom and Chris Donnelly, who was still, he had one more year. I was a GA, and Chris had another year as a safety. We moved in. We rented a little house over toward Alberta City, in Coventry was what it was called. We rented a little house, and we each had our own room. That was big time. So we had a nice little home, and in fact, that house was torn down by the tornado too. But it was a special time, and then I got married the next year, and you know, my mom probably would have lived with Kath and I if it wasn't for my father-in-law, because I was making about $450 a month, and Kath had just finished her master's, and she was teaching school, making about $22,000, and but her dad helped us so that we could make sure my mom had a nice apartment, and so she was close to us, but she had her own apartment, and then she met Larry McIntosh, who's my stepdad, and Larry McIntosh has just been a blessing to our family, and has taken my mom all over the place. You know, Larry never had kids, so he didn't know what he was getting into when he started dating my mom, and they've been married now about 18 years, and so it's been a great journey, and it's been fun to see my family grow, and especially the transformation that took place in my dad's life. Just awesome to see how he lived, especially the last 15 years or so of his life, and the blessings that my mom has had, and then my brother, my oldest brother, I was able to help him go to college, and he graduated from Sanford University, and retired 30 years from the Pelham City Police Department. Now he works for me up here, and it's been great.
What about your boys? Letting them experience this with you. They're old enough to know what's going on. They're not too old that they're gone. Have you been able to reflect on just how special it's been that the age in their life right now, what they're going through is something that
Yeah, well, they don't know what they don't know. I mean, they really don't. I tell them sometimes, y'all need a little more Rycroft Circle and a little less Sycamore Drive every now and then. I'll tell them that. But they're just great kids. I mean, they really, and I know I'm a dad, but man, God has blessed me. I have 3 of the most precious boys you could ever want to be around. I mean, they're just, they get it. They get it. They're just humble kids that don't expect anything. They work hard, don't really ask for anything. And, we can thank Kath for that because she's done a phenomenal job with raising them. But it's just been special. I mean, it really has, because Will's 17 now, Drew's 16 here in another week, and Clay's 12. And to see them grow up with the way they've grown up, because they just don't know anything different. I mean, and the people that they've been around, the relationships that they have with so many guys, it's been really special. One of these days, they'll really realize, what they've been able to do and experience. But right now, it's just kind of their normal, if you will. But they're just great boys. Great boys.
Sean was talking 100 yards, rushing 5 of the last 6 games. Do you feel like he can have that same kind of success against Alabama?
I hope so. We're gonna find out. We're gonna give it all we got. That's for sure. We probably won't win if he don't play well. You don't win championships without your best players showing up and getting clocked in and performing. That's for sure. So he's been there all year long. I know this. Nobody's going to prepare harder. Nobody's going play with more will to win than number 4. So, hopefully he'll be able to have one more good one in him.
Does the familiarity with the SEC, does that help in this game at all?
No, it doesn't have anything it doesn't have anything to do with the SEC or the ACC. It's just about 2 good teams, and it's about the 22 guys out on the field and how they play. Can you beat the guy in front of you? Can you out execute the other team? Can you be technically more sound? That's really all it comes down to. It doesn't have anything to do with the league.
For Alabama and its fans, this is a fairly commonplace going to this game. What kind of feedback have you gotten from Clemson people as to what this means to them?
Well, that's been one of the best things about this whole deal is the joy that the Clemson folks have had, because it's been a long time. It's been a long time, and 7 years ago, that was my goal, and I said that then. I said we're going to win a national championship again, and we are, and hopefully it's Monday night. But if it doesn't go our way Monday night, we're not going away, and so we're not. We're built, and that's how we've built this program. We've built to make a strong run, and we've been doing that. So we're not going away. We hope to become a team like Alabama that can compete in that top 10 consistently. Because again, if you're in that mix, you got a chance every year. But it's been special for me to see the sheer joy that the Clemson fans have been able to take, out of this season, and the pride that they have in their program. It's been a lot of fun.